Good evening, folks. It's the 8th of December 2016, and it's exactly 10 years to the day since the amendment to the Wireless Telegraphy Regulations came into effect here in the UK. And those regulations were issued by Ofcom, which is the Office for Communications. And what Ofcom do here in the UK is basically police the electromagnetic spectrum. They sort of resolve conflicts between frequency band users. Do enforcement if somebody's breaching the regulations, and of course they license people to use certain frequency bands when appropriate. But yeah, like I say, it's 10 years since they issued the amendment to the regulations, and there was two main points that were changed. The first one was the deregulation of the FM citizens band frequencies, allowing UK people, UK citizens, to use the FMCB band without licensing, which was quite a big deal at the time, really. Although, getting 10 years ago, CB radio was certainly not as popular as it was when I was a child, because I used to have a CB radio and I used to use it to speak to my friends, etc. But, with the advent of the mobile phone, its use rapidly sort of decreased, and I think it really made financial sense to deregulate it, because there wasn't many people using it, so it made sort of sense to get rid of a department and save money for probably what was essentially maybe a couple of hundred, maybe a couple of thousand people in the UK using it. So yeah, it was quite a big deal at the time though. But the main thing, and which was more of a big deal, I suppose, was the fact that the regulations now allowed for people to use low-power FM transmitters, the kind of devices that you would plug into the bottom of your iPod, and it would transmit your iPod's music via FM to your car stereo. Now, I suppose we could argue that in 2016, even that technology is old hat. Most modern cars have got Bluetooth head units, or a dedicated iPod connector. So yeah, like I say, even that's kind of old news now, and it's probably going to go down the road to CB radio, where it'll eventually never be used, and they'll just eventually get rid of it in total. But I don't think there's many companies other than some companies in China that actually produce these units anymore. Anyway, rambling on. So I thought we'd kind of flaunt the regulations this evening. I won't tell if you don't. And build a low power FM transmitter in the form of a microphone. And this kit came from AliExpress. It was just £2 including delivery. And it's a fairly cheap kit, as I'll show you. It comes with a really plasticky housing or handle. We've got the microphone head there with a really thin piece of foam in there. This is not high quality equipment, I can tell you that, but even before I built it. We've got a combined battery holder and microphone mount, if you like, and a little strain relief thing for the bottom, but of course there won't be any flex coming out here other than possibly a single piece of wire for the antenna. We've got a few resistors, a few ceramic caps, transistor, bits of wire, battery contact switch, microphone, and a really crappy pressed paper PCB. Of course we do get our Chenglish instructions, well, not even Chenglish, it's just Chinese, but it does have the component values, and it does have a schematic and a sort of layout of the PCB on here. Interestingly though, the PCB here, the actual component values don't match up to what's on the silk screen, but the PCB is exactly the same layout, as you can probably just make out if I tilt that just to the side there. What else am I going to say? Yeah, the component values that they are on the list, and the components that were supplied do match up with this printed layout, so I'm pretty confident that it will actually function. So what I think I'll do is I'll just actually put the components on the board, and then I will restart the video and we'll assemble the unit into its actual, the form of a microphone, and then we'll test it out. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So what I'll do is, let's say, I'll pause the video, and that shouldn't take me too long. So if you just bear with me, I'll see you in a moment. Right, folks, welcome back. Right, that's all the components put on the board now. As you can see, soldered up quite well. So what we'll do now is just finish off the actual board now, and then install it. So we'll put the switch in first, and I'll let gravity do its job. I'll do its thing, and we will just solder the switch onto the PCB. Like so, and once we've got one on, then we can just do the other two terminals. Right, nice and secure. Okay, so there is no pads on here now, or there's no sort of vacant pads, if you like. So basically everything else now has to be tacked on to the back of the PCB. Hi folks, sorry, you probably noticed I've had to do a little jump cut there. Once I'd put the switch on, as you probably saw me doing there, I had to look at the layout just to see where the connections were going to go, because there's no vacant pads on the board anymore, so we're going to have to actually tack the wires onto the board. And looking at the layout here, it would appear that the battery pack is here, the microphone is here, the two negative sides are tied together, positive of the battery goes onto this top end of the switch here, and the positive of the microphone goes onto this junction between R1 and R2, which is here. But it just didn't look quite right. I wasn't quite sure why that negative side, that common negative, was sort of floating and wasn't connected to anything. So I had a look at the schematic, and yeah, indeed that layout is quite misleading. So we just talked about the junction between R1 and R2. That is indeed where the positive side of the microphone goes to. But the negative, as you'll see, comes down and joins onto the junction between R4 and, well, yeah, at the end of R4. So we need to tack that on here, and that's down here. The battery itself gets tacked across C7. Which is, if we look at the layout here, C7 is this one here, which is these two pads just above my fingernail, not the three, but the ones to the left of the two pads above it. So those need to get, so the battery needs to get tacked across there. So the positive side via the switch goes onto that side, and the negative, which we see the negative side goes in the side that's tied with the R4 and C3. So, which we see there's R4, which is that side, so that must be a negative side here. So negative will go there, positive will go there, and then we've got our switch there, and once that switch is made, these two big pads are joined and then completes the circuit. So we'll go ahead and do that. I have already tacked on the microphone while I was off camera, so we'll go ahead and put those on there. So our positive, like we say, goes to this junction here, which is this one here, which we showed you just a moment ago, and the negative, so let me check that, yeah, the negative goes on here, this one here. Try not to burn my fingers. Okay, so the battery pack now, like we say, the negative side goes to this, the side with the R4 on. So there's a 103 in there, and that is joined onto R4 here, if that makes sense. So we'll just tack that on. like so. And the positive side just goes on to the, sorry, the positive wire just goes on to the other side of that C7. Okay, so I'll just give it a little touch more solder. And same on this side. Okay, right. So I think it's probably what the easy thing to do is actually just bring it up close to the camera so that you can see. So there's my microphone. Positive to there, negative to there, and that's a positive and negative going to the battery pack. So we're now ready to construct it and put it into its housing. One thing we need to do is put on our antenna, and we can see the antenna here goes onto the bottom of C6, that little 5 picofarad, which is right down at the bottom there. So what we'll do is we'll just tack that on there, and that's our antenna ready, like so. We need to construct the battery pack now, so how we'll do that is we'll just slot the terminals in like so. It probably does. That doesn't want to go in like that. I don't suppose it really matters what way it goes in, because it should make quite good contact either way. In fact, we'll take this off. You're getting this warts and all, guys. This is not my finest hour. We'll just take the battery leads off just now. It'll be easier to apply them onto the battery terminals, place them in the housing, and then solder the rest on. Okay, so there's our positive. Like so. And these can be quite problematic, the spring contacts, if you've ever tried to solder one of these before. So we'll do our best and see if we can get it to attach on. Oh, that's not too bad. That should do the job. Yeah, that'll do. Okay, so let's put these terminals in then. So we'll just pop the wire through the bottom like that. And we'll actually slide the terminal in and taking that slack up as it goes in, like so. And exactly the same with the spring side. Now, of course, because we've essentially welded this, it might take a little bit of force to get that in there, but once it's in, you can just bend the spring down slightly, and it should hold in there okay. Right, so that's the battery packs that are complete. We'll now tack these back onto either side of the cap. Like so. And like so. and we're now ready to construct it. So, first thing we're going to do, I think the easiest way to do this will be to place the antenna through the strain relief, if you want to call it that. And then we'll just pop that through the bottom of the handle. Try and get hold of it. There we go, and we'll just let that slide down there, pop out the bottom, and then we'll pull it into place. Fairly tight, but you get the idea. We'll then drop the PCB down into the bottom here, and then if I can get the switch aligned like so, and then we'll use these two small screws to secure that in place. Let's grab my screwdriver. That's one in. And now the other. So that's nice and secure. Just one last little tweak. Got a little switch sticker here, just to make it look really nice and professional. Yep. There we go. And now it's just a case of putting a battery in. So we'll just use our old faithful Duracell Industrial. Like so. And that's just going to slot down into here. Now obviously your wiring, you're probably going to want to go into this place that it doesn't have any plastic. And our microphone's simply just going to sit in this the top here. Of course, if you're going to be using this, and I do not imagine that you will be using this, you would want to probably secure that in there to stop it from rattling around. But we could always just put a bit of tape or something around it. But that's going to be good enough for me just now. So there we have it. There is our completed microphone. Let's see if it works. So what we'll do is we will, I'll just get a little, what do you call it, clock radio here. So it is picking up a radio station, so I'll turn this on now. Hopefully we should hear this regardless of whether it's the correct frequency. So it's not made a noise to suggest that it is working, but let's just tune and see. Right, it is making some form of noise. I can hear it when it was tuned into another station. It was definitely making a noise.
Probably about 2 years ago I started.
Now it is 88 to 100. It said it was centred around 100, but I think Classic FM here in the UK is around about 100, as you probably just heard there. So. Hello, 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 hello. Right, that is working now. Not very well. Hello, hello. Hello, can you hear me? Yeah, it is not very good at all, as you can hear. But that's 104.1. It does appear to be working. I can hear myself. You can probably hear that now. It's not brilliant, and it is very crackly, as you can clearly hear. When I grab the antenna, it is crackling and we're getting some breakthrough. Probably because there is a station fairly close on this frequency. Anyway, there we have it. Yeah, a really poor quality video, but showing you how to make this FM wireless microphone kit. If you enjoyed the video, as always, please like and subscribe. You can click about here on my fat face and subscribe, and down here there'll be a video, a random video for you to watch if you'd like to do that. Anyway, thanks guys, take care, and until next time, all the best. Bye bye.